Hi there, Steve Kaufman here again, and today I want to talk about multitasking and language learning. But first, if you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel. Now, I mentioned in my previous video that I wanted to increase my ability to notice things in Ukrainian, and that therefore I was going to be saving phrases, almost every phrase that contained, for example, case endings. A, because just even saving them helps me notice, and B, because I can then review them in our vocabulary section, isolated by a particular case. So then I said, well, I should try this in other languages. So I decided to choose Italian. And in our feed section at Link, we can see articles that other people are studying. We can see newspaper articles, which we can import into Link. So I chose one on multitasking. And I went through saving phrases with tenses, which sometimes cause trouble in Italian. I only need to save the tense, like tag it for a tense. I don't need to tag it for first, second, or third person, singular, or plural, because if I capture the whole phrase, it'll be obvious who or what the subject of that verb is. So I was doing that. But of course, the article was very interesting. And one of the delights of language learning as you get past the beginner stage is that you can actually improve your language by reading or listening to things that are interesting. So this article said multitasking is bad, it's bad for the brain. And so I started to think, well, what do they mean by multitasking? Obviously, if you're working in an office and you're trying to do two things at once, you're going to be distracted, and probably that's bad for the brain. However, when it comes to language learning, if I couldn't multitask, I don't think I would learn my languages, or it would take me much, much longer, because probably 75% of my learning activity is multitasking, primarily listening. I listen while exercising, while driving, while doing the dishes, and I'm almost better able to concentrate while doing some other relatively repetitive, or call it non-thinking type task while listening. I may sometimes, focus in, focus out, but by and large, I'm able to get in 45 minutes a day, an hour a day of listening. I look forward to doing the dishes so that I can listen to my language. I then may concentrate, sit down and read and say phrases and work these texts so that if I listen again, I will understand more and I will notice more. But it's very essential that I have this ability to multitask, and I think people should develop that skill. I sometimes hear people say, well, I can't focus while I'm listening. Well, maybe that's a skill that you have to develop. I can even read on my iPad while I'm on my treadmill. Not a treadmill, but I have a stepper at home. But I've seen people on treadmills in health clubs who watch TV programs while they're jogging. So there are tasks that you can do in combination with other more or less repetitive tasks. And for language learning, I would say that developing the ability to multitask, at least the ability to listen and to focus 60, 70, 80% of the time while listening and doing other relatively repetitive tasks is an important skill. And even the ability to read while, say, exercising. The reading is more difficult. Obviously, you can't read and do the dishes. You can't read and drive. But you can read and be on a treadmill. So that was just something that I wanted to mention. And also I wanted to close by saying that this issue of saving phrases at Link, I think it's extremely important, and perhaps that we don't emphasize strongly enough just how crucial it is. Because you learn so many words, it's very difficult to cover all of these words in your flashcarding or other review type activities. But the number of phrases you need in order to capture the essential structures of a language is much, much smaller. So that if you can focus on phrases, save those phrases, tag those phrases, review those phrases in the vocabulary section, you're going to get a real good handle on the structure of the language and pick up a lot of vocabulary along the way. So I might just do a separate video in the future about how I actually do this. At any rate, multitasking, I believe, insofar as language is concerned, is important, and it's a skill that we need to develop if we're going to be efficient language learners. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.